Hey there guys, this is just a little pre-bit before the video, just to correct some of the miscalculations that I'd made in regards to the WutheringWaves character amounts. Basically on Notepad, a little bit into the video, you will see it will say like 13 with 12 out of 39 characters. It is in fact 11 out of 36, so it's a little more weighted towards the balance point. I will leave it at that. Thank you, enjoy the video. Take care guys. Hey there guys, and welcome back to the Gacha Grump channel. It's me, the Gacha Grump, and today I wanted to talk about a couple of things on this Reddit post that I'd found just scrolling through Reddit. I kind of want to discuss a few bits, give my personal opinions, because it raises some valid points and other points I kind of just want to go over just for like discussion purposes. So it's going to say, alright, I need to get this off my chest. This is from user JumpyFunction2657 on the WutheringWaves official Reddit. Since launch, and honestly some things are just starting to feel wrong. First 4-star situation, it legit feels like pulling a 4-star is harder than getting a 5-star at this point. Well, this has been the case in a lot of gachas simply because obviously the rate up 4 stars, you don't really ever pull for them. I do feel it sometimes where you might want a specific character that's on the rate up and you just get unlucky, but you've got to think it's a 50% chance to get the 4-star that's a rate up, otherwise you're pulling from the standard pool of 4 stars, and there is 3 rate up characters on the 3 rate ups 4 stars on the actual banner itself, which is commonplace in most of the bigger gachas. So it's just, yeah, I don't first 4-star situation, it legit feels like pulling a 4-star is harder than getting a 5-star at this point. Just covered that. No new 4-stars coming in. This I can agree with. No variety, nothing, feels dead. Don't get why ignoring the 4-star pools, so badly. These characters are the backbone of free to play and even like spenders, but the game is acting like they don't exist. Though the only time you see new characters is for 5-star banners, and then guess what? They're all female. So I fully understand that. I can understand the frustration of this, and I would like to see more 4-stars personally, simply because of the amount of 4-stars is rather low. But it's not been too uncommon in times. I've done a little bit. I've done a little bit of just counting on fingers. 46 in Genshin, 46 4-stars in Genshin out of 101 characters total. This is obviously just under half, but at the same time, when the majority of those 4-stars are unplayable, don't get me wrong, this happens in all gachas. Bennett, of course, being a standout, who is one of the best characters in the game, even to this day. Whereas Bennett is here. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend I know a lot more about Genshin. It's not something that I played a lot recently. It's not one I've played for a while. I used to be thinking. I believe Ianson is one as well, is a 4-star. So he needs, Bennett wants C1, they want C2. Zhanglang is still a really good sub DPS, which has been since release, which obvious staple. Jinqui is also there as well. So as you can see in Genshin, there is still, these characters are carrying or still very prominent even in today's meta. So, Sucrose is another one. I don't know if she was from release, she might have been. There is also Shinobu, given that this is accurate obviously, Shinobu, Fischl, both of those are really good apparently. Fischl's been in since release, or release close to, as far as I know. Obviously, I feel like they're just, I don't know whether this is based on them 4-stars versus the 5-stars, because I can't imagine a C6 official is as good as a Raiden Shogun, but I could be wrong. I've not played the game in a while, so I'm not going to comment on that. The last time I played, Al-Haytham was just released, so obviously you can see that basically they've kind of dropped down at this point. They're not, there's still quite a few 4-stars sitting in that top tier. Layla is one as well, if I'm recalling correctly. Shinobu again appears there. Diona, she's a 4-star. Obviously, they're different tiers based on how many copies. So obviously, when she has more copies, she instantly jumps up to being a better support, but she requires a C6 for that. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that to give fairness to Genshin. I'm critical of Genshin, but I have to give it its dues. It's 4-stars at least. Quite a few of them are still good. As bad as the power creep is in aspects like mobility for Malvika, the 4-stars still seem to make an impact. I don't know how reliable these are, but going off of these numbers, it seems good. We're looking at these are quite close together. The next 3 are quite close together. the reason I say this is obviously in Honkai Star Rail, 23 of them out of 71 total characters, so that makes up what, just about a third of the fingers. So obviously you can see here, let's see where they play. So Gallagher is still a mainstay support, still one of the best supports in the game. Pale is still a really good debuff character, especially for teams like Acheron. She fits in budget. Can't speak too much about Serval. March 7th, this March 7th was released rather recently, like the last story, I believe. She's pretty good. She obviously fits very well into specifically pure fiction because there's many enemies for her to reset on. Her value, I believe, went up because the Herta came out, and before I had my Anaxa, I was using Herta, and obviously little Herta combos off a big Herta makes sense. Mose, I've heard, is very good. I've not really seen him. I don't have him to use in many teams. Tingyun is one of the early characters from the Jingwei, I believe, and she is still really good for support. Obviously, we get down to the lower tiers. So many in the literal unplayable tier. These are niche, but let's be honest, they may as well just be called unplayable as well. She's incredibly niche Gamba machine. She can be fun for that reason. But yeah, you've still got a few standouts. You've still got 7 characters in the top half of the tier list. Mainstay Gallagher, obviously, E6, sorry. As you can see, that makes up a third of the characters. Now, if we look at Zenless Zone Zero, which I do have here, if we're looking over here, we have Nicole, who's been released, same with Sukaku. She has always been a very good support, though. So, Sukaku, specifically in ice-based teams, at the start, she was tier 0 because she supported Ellen. Ellen's changes came through recently, so I'm assuming she's gone up. But obviously, Lycon, who released there, still 2 prominent ice characters, because obviously now we have Hugo, we do have Miyabi, and we have Ellen. Some of our best characters are ice characters. They both do well in those for the faction bonuses and the team-up bonuses, obviously. And again, as you can see, that makes up about a third. That is a literal third, as long as I've mathed right. A third of the characters in Zenless Zone Zero are 4 stars, and more so over. A lot of them are still quite playable. Obviously, Lucy's still one of the best supports, especially budget-wise. Panyin Hu, his only real gimmick at the minute, he fits into the Sheer comp, which features Jufufu and Yijuan, but he's useless outside of that. But basically, these 3 are the peak combo for them at the minute. She is very good. She can be replaced with other characters, but obviously he kind of fits really hard with that comp, so he's only there. If she didn't exist, he'd be trash. Lucy can fit into a majority of teams, whether it's Sons of Caldeon or whether it's she doesn't care too much about activating her team up bonus. If I can find where it is, I cannot. I've gone past it. Basically, her team up bonus means so her little boars, they get crit chance and crit damage, so her team up bonus isn't required for her to be useful, but her buff duration is quite low, but she's still a very good support character. With Nicole here staying up there as well, still into pretty good teams. If we look at the team she's in, she's literally any DPS except Grace, Bernice or Piper, with Astra Yao and Nicole for a double support comp. We've got a Zhuyuan or Haramusa with Jingyi and Nicole, or we've got the Cunning Hair team, which, let's be honest, trash, very mediocre, and still a great support, so you're not using that team. The rest of the characters, obviously, if we're looking again, of the 12, we've got these 2 here. She fits purely into Aftershock teams. Piper's kind of an interesting DPS on her own, but obviously these are basically unplayable. He fits well into certain teams. I think Seth's still pretty good. I think this is quite low for him, but I think it's just because defense characters are generally classed as pretty weak. But yeah, as you can see, there's still a few standout 4 stars that are pretty playable. And obviously 13 into Wuwa. Again, this is exactly a third. This is the exact same as Zenless Zone Zero. But I think the thing I agree with on this comment is that in WutheringWaves, if we look at the 4 stars, we do have Sanhua, who makes up a majority of. She can fit into basically any team just because of her damage buff. So, it is that one, sorry. She fits with Camellia, she fits with Encore, she fits with Branch, she fits with Rover Havoc and Carlotta. She basically budgets into any team that requires a buff. Otherwise, she isn't the best character in that role, but she can fit into so many roles that she is a god tier investment for that reason. Mortefi, he has been in the game since release and he is still very good. Fits well into Gian teams, fits into Phoebe teams, fits into Zanny teams. I believe Mortefi needs more characters that want to do heavy damage, similar to Gian. Basically, he does a lot of buffing towards that, if I'm recalling correctly. I might be wrong, but he does like being in heavy attack teams. It's kind of why Gian kind of sits there rather than higher, because there's not a lot of heavy support for him. But if we start looking now, obviously Danjin, who is in 1.5 tier. Danjin mains are insane. We know this. With Danjin, she wants to be in... she's going to be in Havoc comp. She wants to be with Roshi usually, with a support. She, obviously, we know the story of if Danjin can still solo the content, it's not too difficult. And that's still the case to this point. Obviously, Danjin, very, very hard to use for... it's outside the hybrid role, which is basically when she supports Havoc Rover as a buffer rather than as a main DPS. Effectively, she's still pretty good, but she is very hard to play. We've got Baiji, who is sat here. She is still a pretty solid support. Obviously, chances are you're going to be... it's that you've got Verena, so it won't matter too much, or Shorekeeper, but simply because of you've also got Spectra Rover, who is good for healing, and Aero Rover, who is pretty good for healing. But at the moment, if you're looking free to play, you've got her to use. You've probably got Verena to use because you do get a guaranteed 5-star, which you should use on Verena. So still pretty good to this day. Obviously falling a bit weaker here. Chisha, she kind of just doesn't. She's a 4-star DPS. She's bad. She's a 4-star DPS. Bad. Also, for some reason, does no damage. Danjin is a 4-star DPS. That is the exception, and even then, she's only a tier above Chisha. She is a very skill-based character that has to rely on you being technically sound. You have to know how to dodge perfectly, because every encounter with Danjin, you're basically one hit. She thrives on being at low HP, and she's difficult because of that reason. We have Tao Chi here, who is... she's pretty good in quite a few comps, actually, even though she fits in the niche category. She is good for different nuke teams and everything. It's just that she doesn't fit well into WutheringWaves. It's just that her rotation's quite long for what it offers. It is she's a solid character, but she does require that long rotation. Yang Yang has recently dropped down in tier. I believe that's because Aero Rover has gone up, who is also a free-to-play character. She now fits into teams with Carlotta. She's probably not fitting into that team too often. Pretty good for grouping. Budget expert team, which obviously with this free character I didn't get him, but not recommended for casual players as it falls off significantly without quick swapping. Same with the Changli team, who is the queen of quick swap. So you can see Yang Yang's fallen off quite a bit. Lumi's really bad. Yunhua is worthless, and Alto is basically worthless as well. I believe Yuhu is the 5-star, the 4-star we most recently got, which was a while ago, if I remember. Which I do agree with the point we could do with getting more 4-stars, even if in the case we do have similar amounts to Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai for where we are. I think getting more useful roster, especially. I've not really played with that. I've not used that much. According to Pridwen, she fits into the lower bracket because the reason she's not going to be played as much is because you probably have Baiji because she was there since release. And if you don't have Baiji, you probably have Verena. And you probably should have pulled for Shorekeeper anyway, so you're probably not sport for options, because the issue is with her, she obviously came out at the most recent. She's kind of been forgotten about simply because you've literally got really good limited character, really good standard character, pretty good standard character, really good standard character, really good well, not really good, but pretty good standard character before you even get to thinking about using her. So I feel like this user may forget that she exists, like a lot of us do, simply because she's not making a difference in the meta and she's the most recent one that came out. So in regards to his point on that, I kind of agree with it. As for the obviously now he's going to get into the female versus male. Obviously, gachas are built for people that are gonna pull waifus more than everything. There is obviously players that pull husbandos. I pulled Brant. I like Brant. Brant is a great character. I can understand that the female after female after female is quite fatiguing, but this type of demographic, this type of audience, wants waifus. There's a reason female characters come out more often than male characters. It's because sex sells. And if the audience is primarily male and maybe not gay, if they're more straight, obviously it fits to more, you know, female characters coming out. If you do want a game that releases a lot of male characters, it's quite good. Reverse 1999. Very, the player base is very shippy. They like gay ships, lesbian ships, blah, blah, blah. But that you do get a mix of characters come out. The most recent character was male. But yeah, the 5-star and the quality, the 4-star and the quality of 4 stars, while I agree, I think the issue is that 8 of the 13 4 stars, or yeah, no, 7 of the I mathed it. 7 of the 12 actually. I was wrong. I miscounted Alto twice. My bad. So did I fucking counted down. Okay. I counted down Jin twice as well. Obviously, we still sit on that borderline of where it's similar to Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai. I do apologise for that. I completely miscounted twice. But yeah, I'll leave this in the video because it's just gonna be a little bit funny. Yep. With basically, I think the issue is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 4 stars, including the most recent one, fit in a tier that you're not really going to use. 2 more sit just above that, and there's only 2 in the higher brackets. Whereas if we're looking like here, you've got 4 of the 13 sitting in that higher bracket, and I'm counting this as the higher bracket, basically the top 3. Let's have a look on this tier list as well. I think Honkai obviously has been having a power creep issue for a while. You've still got 5 of the, how many was it? 5 of the 23 in this top 3 bracket, which obviously you're starting to see the characters become less and yet less useful as there's more of them. But yeah, I think his point is something I do understand, because obviously with your hobby and our last one, we could do with new characters, and the fact that the new one was bad, and then obviously majority of them are mediocre at best, it's just noticeable that thingy. If we're looking at over this bit, yep, I get it, but it's the audience. And obviously he's saying now it's not just about the banners. The story itself is getting weird because every little female is head over heels for Rover the second they see him. It's so forced, there's no tension. I can understand this because a lot of characters are amicable towards us, but I don't believe this is entirely the case. Obviously when we came to Renacita, we're from a foreign land, they're trying to put on this perspective, we're a really nice place to live. They're not going to be outright, go to the gulag. I do understand what he's saying, but I get what they mean about no suspicion, no gradual trust building. But in a lot of cases, it doesn't just jump straight to, I want to marry you. Often they see his actions, and that's where they get their desire and want for him. But I do get this. I do wish there were a little more suspicion in regards to Rover, but at the same time, they hear it from across the ocean, from the Black Shores, from Huanglong, the tales of the Rover, and that's why they're a lot more trustworthy towards him, I believe. I'm not saying it's right, but yeah, why not write 1 or 2 characters that are suspicious into getting down and build up a proper arc? I do understand that. That will make it more real immersive. If it feels like you exist, equal girls instantly swoon. Not really the case. I get the point he's trying to make, that every character ends up falling in love with Rover, but I think it's just the nature of being a hero, and I don't agree with it entirely, but I do understand it. So they see Rover go emotionally weak in the knees. This isn't the case. They see his exploits, which are very slightly different. Obviously, they're not falling in love with the man. They fell in love with the exploits that he did, and then obviously that's earned, but not entirely, because you're not doing this full long story of blah blah blah. You can be attracted to someone and not be madly in love with them, which I think is the cases of majority of the characters in here. The outright exception to this, I feel the ones that are genuinely actually might love him, are Camellia, which is more canon. Obviously, she's been there since we lost our memories. We've got the Shorekeeper. She's an artificial AI. She cares about us because we care about her. I don't know if that falls into love. Who else would I say probably loves the Rover or instantly fell in love with you? Carter Theory could make the argument because of obviously the recent exploits have been through so much together. Like that 2.2 was fucking phenomenal, obviously. But obviously they had a big thing, so I could see Carter Theory being in love, but it seems more playful at the minute. Like, obviously, I get what he's saying and I don't entirely disagree, but I do disagree that every single character is instantly in love. Then there's mobile optimization, which is a total disaster. No, this is something I can't speak on. I don't play mobile, but for a game like WutheringWaves, I could probably see this. They keep adding content, fancy events, cool animations, but the core optimization is still trash. That's sad to hear. If you're not on a flagship device, you can forget about playing it smoothly. The issue is phones, even at mid-range, often struggle for gaming, but you can't expect it to play a mid-range phone to play the high-end graphical games, surely, right? Everything's at low, frames drop constantly. While I don't disagree, and there's probably optimizations that can be done, expecting to play a game like that on a mid-range phone, I don't know, man. I think that's questionable. I don't do much in terms of mobile gaming, but yeah, I think that's just weird, man. But I do think if there's optimizations to be made, it should be for that player base. We shouldn't forget about our mobile brothers and sisters. And don't get me wrong, I love the game's potential, combat is fun, the music is amazing, the movement feels fresh, but the flaws are killing these experiences. Somewhat valid flaw, not entirely, but thingy. This is kind of your own fault for coming into the game and expecting it to have a lot of males when it's literally known as a Gooner game, in all fairness. Why not write one or two characters that specific? This I can agree with. It could be more interesting to see. But I also believe Yinlin was that kind of person to us in her story, correct? She didn't trust us outright and she wanted to use us initially. So there was that one there. There's a mobile optimization. This is probably a case, it's not one I can speak on, but if this is truly a case, I do hope they make more efforts into optimizing the game for console players. For mobile players, I do apologize. Yeah, I just don't think, I think while he is right in very few cases, majority of them are personal preference that he's completely at fault for getting his expectations up. It's like getting your expectations of, I see Wu, oh my god, it's a super cyberpunk fancy, and then coming into the game and be like, well, it's got apocalyptic elements, but where there's a cyberpunk, just because it's got future technology doesn't mean it's cyberpunk. And if you built that image in your head, that's kind of your own problem with it, given the situation. I love, obviously, Korra needs to wake up. There's so many players who want to support the game, who want to enjoy it, but they're being pushed away by these issues. What would push players away? Potentially this, but the game has always been like this. This is how most gachas are. If you're coming into a gacha game, you probably expect this. Plus, a lot of the female characters are cool as fuck, just outright. It's not all Gooner stuff. Like, genuinely want an insanely cool character. Her movements are fucking gorgeous. Her backflip and everything, so cool. She's really interesting. Her interesting playstyle. Phoebe's adorable. Genji is adorable as well. Showkeeper, really fun playstyle for a healer. Verena, just there because Singe. Sanhua, really cool, obviously. Camelia's got one of the most interesting playstyles, and that also extends to Brant because I love the swinging. It's just really cool. Jinshi has some of the flashiest animations in the game, and yeah, you can see her animations literally from across the map, and I wish I was joking. But yeah, just talking about it and just going into, I do apologize, I get really fidgety. Just talking about it and going into this, I do understand that he gets to a point where he's like, his own frustration, his rant, he's got a right to make it. I think a lot of his issues are his own and not actually everyone else's. Like, this isn't everyone else's issues in majority of cases. You do have Brand. You could probably do with more, but sure, you've still got viable 5-star characters that you can play, like Jian. You've got Brand, who's still one of the better characters in the game. We've got Mortefi here. You've got Rover, who is still among 1, 2, 3 versions of him in the tier 1 category. So you do have that male character if that's what you want to play. I feel like a lot of his issues are his own and not shared by the community. I wanted to raise a discussion about it though more because I came across it and it was kind of interesting. For me though, it doesn't really change much. I don't believe it's entirely right. I think this is probably one that could push people away, and I do hope it's something that gets fixed for those mobile players. This one, yeah, probably add more variety to the stories being told, but I do love the stories that are being told, so I can't talk on that either. I do think if you wanted to, I think it would be interesting to go this route of an area that's entirely suspicious. Maybe we'll get that in the next area that's closed off, rather than open areas. Maybe it's an area we'll go to that's closed off that don't welcome visitors, and we're instantly being made suspicion out of. But yeah, I think it was an interesting topic to talk about. I do apologise if I've not verbalised it well. Obviously, I've done a few miscalculations. It's not changed it too much, though, realistically. It's been one or two that leaves it in the same sort of percentile of like 25, 26, 27%. As for this, I think it was an interesting topic from Jumpy Function. Again, my overall takeaway is that it's probably a lot of this is his own thought process and it's his own issues, not everyone else's. But the issues that I do see at mobile optimization, I do hope they get fixed. Leave your comments down below. What do you think? Would you agree with what's made in this post? What are your thoughts on, do you want more male 5 stars? While I do, I understand that's not always going to be the case. We can look out for Scar, Copium. Yeah, are you excited to see what's coming next in WutheringWaves? Do you agree with what's said here? Do you agree with what I said? Do you have something to counter argument? Cool either way. Please drop in a comment down below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you dislike it. I am the Gacha Grump and I am out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, guys.